Hi, it's me Anne from Geeks of Green. Now, majority of us spend a lot of time indoors, whether it's at your house or whether in the office. And it's no surprise that the air indoors is much more polluted than the air outside. So here are a few chemicals or toxins that are found commonly inside our houses. Like most chemicals, these chemicals do have an adverse effect on our health. It may depend on several factors like how you are exposed to it, in what amounts, and what is the form of the chemical. So now the symptoms may vary from dizziness or headaches or irritation in the eyes to even heart problems and kidney or liver damage. So it becomes very essential for us to at least, if not completely eliminate, at least reduce the toxins from the air in our houses. And the best way to do it is keep a few air purifying plants. Now there was a study done in 1996 where a bedroom with no plants had 50% more colonies of airborne microbes compared to a bedroom full of plants. So plants not only purify the air of chemicals, toxins, but also airborne microorganisms and microbes that may be harmful for us. So I have been keeping a few plants in my house to improve the air quality of my house. So these plants are tried and tested by me. So I'm going to just show them to you today and talk about them a little bit. Before we get started, how many plants do you think would be required to really make this an effective system, air purifying system? So many studies have proven and suggested that a 1800 square feet house should have around 15 to 18 air purifying plants. This here is the Spathiphyllum, also commonly known as the peace lily. This is an excellent plant that purifies the air really well, and it removes chemicals like trichloroethylene, benzene, xylene, formaldehyde and ammonia. Lab studies have shown that the peace lily eliminates formaldehyde at a rate of 939 micrograms per hour, which is really good compared to other plants. Now, the peace lily is not very difficult to care for once you understand the humidity loving nature of the plant. It's a humidity loving plant. You need to water it regularly. If you don't water it, the leaves will dramatically droop. So you will know that it's thirsty. Now, you cannot keep the peace lily in direct sunlight. It needs indirect to low sunlight. If you keep it in direct sunlight, the leaves will burn, the tips will burn. Be careful not to overwater the plant also, because that also will be a problem for the peace lily. Ensure that the soil dries out in between waterings. This plant is not only a great air purifier, but it's also very beautiful with its broad, dark green, glossy leaves and its white flowers with the white bracts. So it adds beauty to your house and it purifies the air as well. Okay, now this here is the Chlorophytum comosum, which is commonly known as the spider plant. Now it's a beautiful grassy plant which is quite hardy. It's an indoor plant. It will survive indoors. The plant cannot be exposed to direct sunlight because it might result in tip burns, and even underwatering may result in tip burns. That is the most common problem that you may have with this plant. Ensure that there is good drainage for this plant and that it doesn't stand in a pool of water. It may result in the leaves rotting. This here is the golden pothos, also known as the devil's ivy or money plant. It's very commonly found in India, but not so common in other countries. Now this plant is a hardy plant which doesn't require much care, and it grows at a very rapid rate. The money plant or the devil's ivy has beautiful dark green foliage with yellow variegation on it. It eliminates formaldehyde, benzene and xylene. The fact that this plant eliminates 3 chemicals, plus it's very easy to keep and it's a hardy plant which grows even in low light conditions, that makes it a must have in your house. The golden pothos will survive even in a jar of water and even in soil. So if you're keeping it in soil, put it in a fast draining soil, which the watering should be at regular intervals, and it should dry in between waterings. This here is the Sansevieria, which is one of my favorite plants for the only reason that it is the hardiest plant that I've ever come across. It doesn't need a lot of tender loving care to thrive and to survive. So if you don't have green fingers, you can still keep this plant without having any problems. This plant will not trouble you. These are the different types of Sansevieria, but today we'll be talking about the variegated Sansevieria. Now the Sansevieria is not only a very hardy plant, but it also is very good at eliminating a lot of chemical toxins like trichloroethylene, benzene, xylene and formaldehyde. The Sansevieria is more commonly known as the snake plant or the mother-in-law's tongue. The care for this plant is you need to keep a good draining soil, and you don't have to water it very often. It doesn't like wet soil. You see that the soil dries out completely in between waterings, and you don't need to keep it in direct sunlight, but it will thrive anywhere that you keep it. It will even survive in a very dark room. This plant is extremely easy to propagate. You just have to cut a leaf and bury it in the soil and it catches root. This here is the red-edged Dracaena, and it's got a beautiful reddish green foliage which looks like grass, and as it grows it looks like a palm, almost like a palm, with the stalk being naked and the foliage all concentrated on the top. Now this is a new acquisition for me and I'm really excited about this plant. It is good at eliminating toxins like trichloroethylene, benzene, xylene and formaldehyde. This is an indoor plant. You need to keep it in indirect sunlight, and do not keep it in direct sunlight. It will scorch the leaves and destroy your plant. It needs a good well draining soil. You just have to mist the soil, not water it too much, because the roots will rot. This here is the Nephrolepis exaltata, which is commonly known as the Boston fern. Here are two variants of it. That is the Norwoody variant, and I don't know the name of this variant. But if you go to a shop and you ask for Boston fern, this is the fern that you're going to get. And it's known to purify air very effectively. So the main chemical that it removes is formaldehyde, and studies have shown that it removes formaldehyde at a very, very high rate, much better than any other plant. It removes formaldehyde at 1836 micrograms per hour, which is really, really good. Boston ferns can be kept as indoor plants. They require indirect sunlight, at least 2 hours of indirect sunlight, a good watering. It loves humid conditions, so it will thrive in humid conditions. And I've just recently potted it, so I'm waiting for it to eventually fill up the entire pot. And Boston ferns can grow really huge and really large if you take good care of them. Studies have also shown that Boston fern has the ability to eliminate heavy metals like mercury and arsenic from soil. So here are my 6 natural air purifiers that not only add beauty to my house but also clean the air inside my house. And I'm really grateful to these plants. I hope you benefited from this video too, and I hope you too will keep as many plants as you can inside your house. Have a great week, have a green week, and I really hope to see you soon. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing, because we have a lot of content coming your way.